What's up, everyone? It's Monty from the Montyverse back with another video. This time we'll be detailing all of the announcements made at Marvel Studios Animation's panel. And listen, they came to play this year. Marvel Studios Animation is really stepping up their game, and they're really showing that, hey, we want to produce quality content. We want to be another bridge to tell stories in the MCU, and that's exactly what they did this year. They made a huge impression. Let's start with Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. This show is basically just what the title sounds like. It centers on a 13-year-old super genius named Lunella Lafayette who goes back in time and gets a giant red Tyrannosaurus Rex, brings it back to the present day, and becomes best friends with it. Yeah, it's awesome. The series stars Diamond White as Lunella, and what's interesting here is that Lawrence Fishburne was announced to star in a recurring role as the Beyonder. The Beyonder is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. And the Beyonder is a being that was heavily involved, aka he is the one that started the first Secret War in Marvel Comics, where he took a bunch of heroes and a bunch of villains from the Marvel Universe and he made them fight each other. So it's very interesting to see that he's making an appearance in the MCU. Not only that, but Lawrence Fishburne, a Marvel regular, will be voicing him. So I'm really excited to see where they go with that and with the character of the Beyonder. Next, let's talk I Am Groot, because let's face it, we're all going to watch this show. So they revealed that they have 5 episodes when the series drops, and there's going to be 5 more released later on. We know that Vin Diesel is reprising his voice acting role as Groot, and we now have confirmation that Bradley Cooper is returning as Rocket Raccoon for the series. It is essentially a feel-good show. Let's face it, it's a show about Groot doing cute Groot, Baby Groot things, and we're all going to watch it, and we're all going to secretly love it, and just be so happy watching it. Moving on. Spider-Man freshman year. Not gonna lie, when this was announced earlier, this was probably the animated series I was most excited about. Do you want to know why? Because I was excited to see the origin of the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. But with all of the news we got today, I'm pretty sure that this is not canon to the 616 universe in the MCU. AKA, this is not the Spider-Man that we saw in Civil War and Infinity War, and Homecoming, and No Way Home, and Far From Home, and Home Away From Home, and all of the home movies. This is essentially going to be a Spider-Man from a different universe, and there are a lot of cool things in here, like it was announced that Charlie Cox is going to be reprising the role of Daredevil in this series, and that it's also going to feature Doctor Strange. It's just, I really would have wanted the show that we were promised when they announced it. You know, the origin of our Peter Parker, the Peter Parker that we spent all of these movies with. I would have liked to have the show potentially introduce maybe Uncle Ben and characters in the show that could, roll into Spider-Man 4 and be used as supporting characters for that film, because it's going to be a new status quo. It's going to be a world that doesn't really remember Peter Parker, so maybe some of these characters will come in. But alas, it looks like we're not getting that, because this series does confirm that it will feature Norman and Harry Osborn, and that Norman Osborn will be Peter's mentor, essentially, taking the place of Iron Man. So this is essentially one giant what-if series, where instead of Iron Man, Tony Stark, being Peter's mentor in the MCU, it was Norman Osborn. We do get some looks at the villains of the series, and as we can see, Doc Ock is going to be featured, the Chameleon's going to be featured, Scorpion, as well as a bunch of other people. Spider-Man will be going through multiple suits. We have the classic Spidey suit, we have the Future Foundation suit, we have the Mothman suit, and a ton of other suits. We have a look at how Peter Parker's going to look in the series and how his homemade Spider-Man suit's going to look. I'm not going to lie, even though I'm less excited for the series, I'm really loving the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko Spider-Man look, and I really like the classic kind of feel of this series in regards to the animation and the character designs. Apparently it takes place before Civil War. That was said during the panel, but again, I don't know how this is going to be canon to the 616 MCU universe. If they fool all of us and they find a way to tie all of this stuff in, more power to them, but I just can't see it with everything that was said today. And on another note, it has been renewed for a second season, and that season will be called Spider-Man Sophomore Year. So, all we know is that this series will debut sometime in 2023, I believe, and that the second season will debut in the end of 2024. This is coming 2023, 2024, and sophomore year is coming the ending of 2024, if I got that correct. But anyway, moving on to What If. We have an official confirmation that Season 2 is not only happening, but is premiering in early 2023. It's going to be crazier than Season 1, and they even showed some footage of a story involving Hydra and the Avengers set in 1602. So that's going to be pretty cool. They teased a lot of things about this season, especially like Peggy Carter taking on a version of the Winter Soldier, Tony Stark finally getting to be on Sakaar with the Hulk and Valkyrie, like they teased in that Lego set from, I think, last year or a couple years ago that we never ended up seeing in Season 1. So we are going to be seeing some of those scripts from Season 1 that never got made due to the pandemic roll over into Season 2, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited to see a crazier version of What If, because I was a fan of the show. I really like certain episodes more than others, but I really liked it overall watching the series. So I'm excited to see, now that they kind of know what they are and have a sense of how they tell their stories, I want to see how far they push the envelope and what they can really do with the show. Speaking of pushing the envelope, we got information about Marvel Zombies. The coolest thing being that it's going to be rated TVMA. So we're going to get some dark stuff in this series. We have the heroes of the show, which are a lot of our Phase 4 or newer heroes, including Yelena Belova, Kate Bishop, Jimmy Woo, the Ultimate Magician, the Sorcerer Supreme. We have the Death Dealer from Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi himself, aka Sean, Kamala Khan, and others are featured in the series. I think Red Guardian was also featured, if I remember correctly. And they will be dealing with a lot of new zombies, including zombified Hawkeye, Abomination, Ghost, half of a Captain America, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, and Okoye. I'm not gonna lie, why do the zombies feel like they got the ultra-powerful heroes, and we're just stuck with a bunch of street-level heroes on the good guy side? That's going to be interesting to see how they are able to deal with these zombies that have these insane powers. Like, how do you deal with a Captain Marvel zombie and a Scarlet Witch zombie? That's going to be nuts, and I can't wait to see that series. It's going to be dark and intense. Also, on top of the zombies, you're going to have to be dealing with a post-apocalyptic set of Black Widows run by Rachel Weisz's character from the Black Widow movie. And they're also going to have to deal with a Skrull biker gang, because that's the one thing you need to deal with in a zombie apocalypse: a group of shape-shifting aliens that decided to form a biker gang. That's intense. So this show is definitely very high up on my list, but not only that, we continue to get mentions of the Eternals in the MCU, as Ikarus was revealed to be a zombie, one of the zombies in Marvel Zombies. And I really found that interesting, because we were essentially told in Eternals that the Eternals were robots with blood and flesh, and then it was revealed that Eternals can't fully become a zombie. So I'm going to be curious to see how they do that. So is this Ikarus going to be at war with himself? Is he going to be fighting the zombified parts of himself? And is he going to be on the side of good, or is he just going to be another extremely powerful being that our heroes have to go up against during the show? Either way, I'm excited for that conflict. I'm excited for the show. It sounds amazing. Moving on to probably everyone's most anticipated animated series, X-Men 97, which is the continuation of X-Men the animated series. And we have a lot of cool reveals that we had in this panel. The main thing being that all of our favorite X-Men are returning, and their designs are pretty much the same. I mean, Storm got a haircut, but that's to be expected. She's in a lot of heavy winds. You don't want all of that hair flying around. Short hair is better for her power set. Really like the new look on Storm. But besides that, everyone seems to be back. We have Rogue, Beast, Gambit, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Storm, Jubilee, and Cyclops, all of our favorites, returning. Not only that, but we have some new heroes that were teased, including Roberto DaCosta, aka Sunspot, and Nightcrawler are joining the ranks of the X-Men. On top of all that, we also got to look at other X-Men or X-Men adjacent heroes, such as Bishop, Cable, and Forge. We also get our first look at Magneto in the series, and since Charles Xavier was last seen in space in X-Men the Animated Series, Magneto will be leading the X-Men in Xavier's absence, going up against Mr. Sinister. And on top of all of that, they just announced today that X-Men the Animated Series is going to be restructured on Disney Plus in the correct chronological order, so all of the episodes are in story order, so you can go in there and watch each episode one at a time and get the correct ordering for everything, so all of the storylines are intact, all the episodes make sense, and everything is one cohesive plot all the way through. So that was very cool of Marvel and Disney Plus to give the fans, because that's just a complaint that we've had for so long, and I'm glad they gave that to us. But a lot of cool things here. A lot of things I'm very excited for. I'm really glad that the MCU is expanding into new territories. We have the Disney Plus series. We have the film still. But I really like the emphasis on animation. I really like that they keep adding more and more stuff. And they're going to use that to expand the world of the MCU. And we're using it to introduce characters like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And to adapt Marvel Zombies. And to have, people like Sunspot and Nightcrawler join the XMen from 1997. It's insane. And all of this is so cool. And we're just living in such a great time to be a comic book fan, especially a Marvel Comics fan. So, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up and leave me down in the comments which animated series are you most anticipating from Marvel Studios. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest content, because we have tons coming out this weekend. And until next time, guys, stay versed.